How does burden of proof work with evidence rules? Imagine trying to prove you are innocent in a court case. It's not just about showing you didn't do it. It's about convincing everyone that the evidence against you isn't enough to be sure of your guilt. That's where the burden of proof comes in. In criminal cases, the prosecution has the job of proving your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. This means they need to present evidence so convincing that no reasonable person could doubt your guilt. Until they meet this high standard, you are presumed innocent. You don't have to prove you are innocent. Instead, your job is to challenge their evidence and create doubt. The burden of proof has two parts. The first is the burden of production. This means the prosecution must bring enough evidence to make the court consider the case. If they don't, the case can be dismissed. The second part is the burden of persuasion. This is an ongoing obligation. The prosecution must keep convincing the judge or jury of your guilt throughout the trial. If they fail at any point, you should be found not guilty. Evidence rules are the guidelines that decide what evidence can be used in court. These rules make sure the evidence is reliable and relevant. For example, evidence must be collected properly and not be hearsay, which is second-hand information. They also prevent evidence that was obtained illegally from being used. This is important because it protects your rights. If the prosecution tries to use evidence that breaks these rules, the defense can object. Challenging the admissibility of evidence is a key strategy. The defense might argue that evidence was obtained unfairly or is not credible. They can also question how physical evidence was collected or analyzed. By doing this, the defense aims to weaken the prosecution's case. They might point out inconsistencies or gaps in the evidence or suggest alternative explanations. If the defense can show that the evidence doesn't meet the rules or isn't convincing, the prosecution's burden isn't met. When that happens, the defendant should be acquitted. This process makes sure that no one is convicted without strong, properly handled evidence. It's a safeguard that protects your legal rights by requiring the prosecution to prove guilt properly. The defense's role is to find weaknesses in the evidence or procedures to prevent a wrongful conviction.